In 1974, in Llandrillo, Wales, residents felt severe tremors. Tremors, which some felt were not naturally caused.
I have no idea what had happened. I don't think it was an earthquake somehow. You know, I still think it wasn't an earthquake.
John Roberts wasn't the only one shaken that day. Hugh Edwards thought he saw a flying saucer.
I saw this object come in along the mountain with the size of a bus, really. It's right in the middle, on two ends. Came across the mountain towards the road there. As it went over there, it dipped, and I thought it was going to crash. It dipped out of sight into the valley. Well, I'd heard so much about flying saucers, and I thought, well, this is it. And the only sound I heard of it like a shh going through the air. I was very surprised to see it, really.
The district nurse thought perhaps a plane was down.
I thought there might be an air crash. Maybe as a nurse we could help giving first aid. So I called to my daughters and we got into the car and we made our way up to the mountain. We drove a fair way along the mountain road, and to our left we could see a huge orange ball sitting on the mountain, glowing.
Yeah, we stopped and we started looking what we thought was going to be an aircraft on fire.
Because we'd envisaged sort of, oh God, you know, there might be bodies if it was an aeroplane crash, and we weren't too happy at that prospect, but we were quite surprised to see this big reddish orange ball just sitting there.
There were no flames and it was so uniform. The shape, the round spherical shape of it made us realise we weren't looking at an aircraft. There were no flames jumping, but it was pulsating, this red-orange object that we saw.
And we could see little lights, like fairy lights, coming towards the object in a zigzag pattern, and we assumed at that time possibly there was someone going to see what was what.
With hindsight, we realised well, a search party couldn't have got there, located it and got there in the time it had taken us to go from the village up to the mountain.
Yeah.
I think no one could have organised themselves to get to the object that we saw.
Since no search party went out that night, nothing was ever found at the scene. But astronomer Ron Madison has proposed that what the villagers saw that night was a meteorite or fireball, and that it coincided with an earthquake at a nearby fault.
Thinking that that explosion might well have been due to an impacting piece of rock, our first reaction was to try to estimate the energy involved. And it seemed to us to be something that would correspond to an explosion of the size of about 600 tons of TNT. We got letters from as far apart as Penzance and Northern Ireland and Derby, all reporting seeing a bright light, maybe comparable with a half moon in brilliance, moving across the sky at the speed of an aircraft but with no sound, and trailing smoke just like you would expect something on fire to be crashing. In the next few days we were to realise, of course, that the village was not very far from the Bala Fault, which is active and has been moving steadily over thousands of years. And unbeknown to us at the time originally, there had been on that evening a movement on the fault, and that is incontrovertible evidence. This was a coincidence there were fireballs in the sky at the same time that there was a triggered movement along the battlefield.